Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever it is that you're watching this video. We have Dameon here, Big D, who is an avid football fan.
And this is my husband, Eric, also known as Fat E. Um, you'll learn about his name later, but he watches football with me, so I appreciate his football tolerance. So,
And we are
end
End
zone
Zone
enthusiasts.
enthusiasts. So, what do you have to drink, Big D?
Today I'm drinking this Pilsner. This is the Crisp Pills from Six Point Brewery. These are pretty good. Definitely have tried some, but I think this one's going to be a winner. It's earlier in the day. I don't want to get too heavy, so this one's a great one.
And I made myself an iced latte. I just made it with espresso, almond milk, and honey. And while I take a sip of that, Big D, go ahead and tell the good people at home what they can do to help us out.
So we are a new channel, so we're really wanting to, kind of really incorporate football for everybody, whether you're a fanatic like myself or an enthusiast like my husband. So if you would like and subscribe, and also if there's any games that we hit on that you agree with or you want to speak more about or give us some more information, please put that in the comments below. And also, we're going to be watching some football again next week. So if there's a game you think that will be good to watch, put that in the comments too. But really, we want to hear from you and we want to really get engagement. So like and subscribe.
Yes, and for this first video, our inaugural video, it's a special moment for us.
Oh, yeah.
We're obviously going to be talking about the first week of college football.
Madness.
I
Madness.
know. What would you say? It's like unexpected things happened.
Yeah, it takes me back to a couple years ago, probably like 2007, when football, you just didn't know who was who. And, you didn't see those dominant teams off the bat that you knew were going to win. So I think this
Mhm.
year is kind of exciting because you'll get a little bit more range and reactions. And I think it'll be good for everybody. So,
Yeah, that's kind of what's fun about sports in general is you often really can't you don't know what to expect, and that's where we get some of these really fun reactions. And we have clips of, oh hey, Selena making an appearance.
hi, this is our daughter.
We recorded our reactions to the Florida Gator LIU game, and so you're going to get to see a lot of that. So let's get into it.
Let's go!
So this was a very interesting first week. One of the first games that had some unexpected results was the FSU Alabama game,
Ooh,
FSU
boy,
beat number
which
8
you
ranked
watched.
Alabama.
that was a game. It was unexpected. I'll say that.
Yeah. Now, I will confess, like, I got a great education from Florida State. I got a degree from there. And so I like watching their games. I like to be able to root for them. I knew they were going to be playing Alabama, and I certainly wasn't really expecting them to win.
Yeah.
So, and I knew I was going to be busy during that time. I wasn't going to be able to watch the game, but I was expecting to come home and hear that they had lost. And so he was messaging me during and saying, no, FSU is up.
Yeah, it was definitely surprising because, I'll admit I did a little bit of hate watching because I'm a Florida Gator fan for you. So I married a Seminole. But,
House divided.
I was a little bit of hate watching, but honestly, early in the game, I was like, "Oh, this is not FSU of last year, and that is not the same Alabama that I expected to be." And even like the betting odds was that Alabama was going to destroy Florida, FSU.
Right.
So I think that was really, really surprising. But it also was like it shows that FSU made good decisions in the offseason. Like their new offensive coordinator and their new defensive coordinator. Like wow, like I'm excited about them this season. I think with Clemson's game that we'll talk about later, I think it does put FSU really in the driver's seat, and really Miami's the real competition for them. But they were physical, they were dominant, their run game was strong. Which if you have Gus Malzahn as offensive coordinator, you're always going to have a great one. But I think also it just shows that you can improve. And Mike Norvell made some changes. He saw deficiencies, and so I think FSU is going to be really good and really fun to watch this year.
We also had Texas Ohio State, which I think you watched that game. That was another unexpected result, I guess you would say.
Yeah, because everybody had already crowned Texas as the number one team in the country. Everybody thought they were
Ooh.
going to be all world. And it is kind of what you expected with, two new starting quarterbacks. Is the defense really was the thing that stood out for me, and especially Ohio State. They brought in Matt Patricia, and I didn't know what to expect. He's been an NFL head coach, but it's obvious that he knows what he's doing. And even some of the plays and some of the things you saw and their technique was definitely high level NFL. So Ohio State's going to be great again. Like there's no way around it. They're going to be a problem even until the playoffs. But on the other side is when you talk about Texas, I think Texas is going to be good. I think they're going to be fine, but people crowned Arch Manning as the Heisman favorite and the end all be all, but
Mm.
also this was his first time really starting on the road in a rough environment against an NFL defensive coordinator who knew how to throw things at him. So, I feel bad for him because he wasn't the one putting hype on himself, other people were. So I think it's going to be a moment of letting him develop and let him get his legs under him. And I even think about, some of last year, with some other teams who had, superstar quarterbacks getting started. There were some rough moments, but he's going to be fine. Texas will always be good. Their defense looked great. I think they'll just continue to improve as it goes on. But I'll say, as a Florida fan, I'm thankful we're catching them early and not at the
Mm.
later part of the year. But
Mm.
yeah, they're going to be fine, though. Definitely.
Yeah. We also watched the LSU Clemson game.
Oh, he fumbled. Oh, that was a good game too. It was the Battle of Death Valley, which they're both their stadiums called Death Valley. So it was at Clemson, which for me, I'm still like, why do you want to run down a hill to start a game? Like that's just always a weird thing for me. But Clemson's been good, and Dabo, is a great head coach. But it definitely showed that LSU made some adjustments. Like LSU did some things that were not typical. The defense looked really good. The transfers that they had looked good right away, and normally it can take some time to get that gelling. But I'll say LSU's defense really stood out to me, and Kate
Mm.
Klubnik showed, he's still good. They're still going to be a problem in the ACC, but it just showed that he still has development to go. But also LSU, I think you're going to see a lot because they were up against a new defensive coordinator at Clemson. So I think you still have some opportunity to get better on that side.
Mm.
But I think LSU still is going to have a couple of teams that are going to be a problem for them moving forward. So, good game to watch overall. I definitely am looking forward to playing them. I think Florida may be the favorite, and I'm willing to put that out there early. But yeah, so I think good things happening. Clemson will be fine. LSU will be good, but they still have to play in the SEC, which is going to be the difference
Yeah,
maker.
which I guess Florida State has to worry about Clemson in the ACC.
Yeah, Clemson and Miami really are going to be the challenges, but a lot of people picked Florida State to finish in the bottom of the ACC, and I think it's
Mm.
very obvious they're going to finish in the top
Mm.
as long as they keep playing like they do and as long as their depth is present. So I think they'll be good in there, and I definitely think if they keep playing like this, they're going to end up in the playoffs too. So there's a chance that you could have three Florida teams in the playoffs, which football is always better when the Florida teams are great. So I'm rooting for it. I want to play a good team. I want to play a good FSU. I want to
Yeah,
play a
we
good
like
Miami
competitive games for sure.
because it shows like it really shows how good we are. So I'm excited. I think Florida's teams are going to be good this year. Yeah.
What other moments did you think were exciting from the weekend?
Oh my gosh, we watched so much football. I'll say Tennessee was a surprise with their new quarterback. Like they went through all the Nico drama, and the Nico drama really
Mm.
took over the offseason, but Joey Aguilar came in. And one thing about it with Joey Aguilar is he's playing for a Josh Heupel offense. Heupel is always going to be able to find a way to make his quarterbacks look really good. Look what he did with Hendon
Mm.
Hooker. Like he is a quarterback whisperer, so I knew it was going to be good. But I definitely think Tennessee was a nice surprise to watch. The South Carolina Virginia Tech game was good to see. I
Mm.
think that special teams is what Beamer's known for, and he had that kickoff returned. So it was a lot of really, really good games. Let's see, I watched the Mississippi State game for a little bit, and I think they're going to be a little bit better. Kentucky struggled a little bit with Toledo, which, I didn't get into the weeds with some of the smaller games, but I definitely think that we had some really quality football all around. And then, Miami Notre Dame was a good game too, you can mention.
Yeah, and we know many of you probably watch games as well, so comment below.
Yeah, which games did you like watching? I'll say the LSU game with Clemson, that definitely was a great watch. But FSU Alabama was also great because I just left with my mouth open. I was just agape the whole time. I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Okay, let's get to the Florida Gator and Long Island Sharks game.
Reactions for LIU and the Florida Gators, brought to you by the End Zone Enthusiasts.
End Zone Enthusiasts.
End Zone Enthusiasts.
Let's get into it. Now, many people have said that the Florida Gators, look, you got your little helmet. That's for Selena. Many people have said that the Florida Gators have the hardest schedule this year.
Yeah, I think that was said even before the season started, but I think even now, after what you saw from FSU and what you saw from USF, I think it makes it even harder. So it looks like we're probably going to end up playing 9 ranked teams this season, which is crazy. But I think from what we've seen, I think Florida's going to be good. I think it's going to be a good season for us. Playoff is where we expect to be. So I think it's going to be good. But it's definitely going to be easy to say that we have a hard schedule. But I think, Billy Napier keeps saying, spot the ball. They still got to play Florida too. It's not just, us having to play them. So I think that's going to make the difference is, they have that mentality no matter the team. We're going to dominate. So I think good things coming.
Well, and to that point, I thought it was a smart start to the season to start with LIU. I mean, most people hadn't even heard of LIU.
Right.
They told us LIU is like practicing out of their gym. Like, I kind of feel bad for them, but from the perspective of a Gator fan, it's a great start to the season because it allows them to get out there,
kind of ease into it.
Yeah, ease into it, work out their adrenaline, get their feet wet, so to speak. We even got to see some second and third string players. Play. So
I think the talent on the team it still stood out. And one of our best players was a freshman wide receiver. And that was like, let's go BB3! It was tremendous to see from Florida.
Yeah. Now, he's talking about Vernell Brown III, aka VB3, who, yes, I mean, early in the game already had some outstanding plays. I remember one where he was able to dodge 3 players during his yards after catch.
I mean, he has some wiggle and he has speed, and I think that's what's on display from this team is speed is a big deal, but VB3 takes to the next level. And I mean, that's what a 5-star wide receiver looks like.
Yeah, he was definitely a star player, and like you said he is a freshman.
Yeah, he's a freshman.
Like, he just started.
5-star. And the crazy thing is that's one of our 2 5-stars.
Right.
So we have another one that y'all haven't even got to see yet. That's going to be, he's coming. And I think it's going to.
Now, you were telling me something that's like special about VB3 and his family legacy.
Yeah, he is the third. His grandfather, his father also played for UF. So he is the third, but also the third one to play at UF, which is crazy. So, he truly bleeds orange and blue. I'm excited about him. I think he's going to be a star, but I think people don't realize we have a lot more names that you haven't got to pay attention to yet. So.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that because we'll definitely talk about VB3 a little bit more. We haven't hit it all yet. But there's other players to talk about, other plays to talk about. Specifically, I remember this moment early on with Baugh, who's a running back, right?
Run the ball.
Yeah,
run the ball.
And it was this crazy moment where he, has the ball, he's running quite a long way. Then he does like a stiff arm and in such a comical way, swipes away this other player so he's able to keep running. And then it took 2 other defenders to bring him down. And then as they were doing that, there was a penalty, like they fouled on
Late,
ball,
late hit out of bounds.
and so it gave the Florida Gators 15 more yards.
And you give us 15, you dumbass.
Yeah, which was crazy.
And you were saying about Florida Gators, like we got
tight ends,
running backs, wide receivers, we got it all.
Yeah.
What else had you excited about the first half of the Florida Gator game?
Whew. I mean, you have the LIU fumble that Bryce Thornton returned for a touchdown, which Thornton is on it. I mean, like, this is going to be a scary season with him again.
That was pretty embarrassing for LIU. I mean, I felt bad for them anyway, but that one was a particularly tough moment that we made work for us.
It was embarrassing a little bit for him.
Yeah.
But also, Trey Wilson caught a touchdown pass. That made my heart happy to see.
Yes. And they had thrown him a couple throws by then, and finally he got a really good one in the end zone.
I loved seeing DJ Lagway throw the touchdown pass to the tight end, Hayden Hansen. I think that's his safety blanket. I think that's something that's so great to see is like, hey, I got a big dude that can catch the ball. I know I'm good no matter what. So that was such a great moment.
Now, of course, soon after that, we got this really funny moment that you and I both picked up on it, where it was like LIU player put his junk right in Hanson's face.
Yeah, I wasn't happy about that. I'm like, bro, I'll fight you and your grandma.
We both saw it.
Yeah, it was rude. But and also our transfer wide receiver Sturdivant caught a touchdown. It was good to see him get involved. I think as the season goes on, that chemistry continues to develop. I think he's going to be a really strong player for us. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm like, these wide receivers are so great. And then, to go back to VB3, it's like that one catch he had.
Yes, I was going to bring it. I was like, we have to circle back to Vernell Brown III, because he had what is got to be the most talked about play of the weekend. I mean, we just happened to watch this game. It was a stellar play. And tell them what happened and what you thought about it.
Yeah, so it was a moment of, I kind of spoke to a little bit earlier with DJ's throwing, but DJ had to move the pocket, and he still decides, I'm going to throw deep.
Yes, he threw it very far.
Yeah, DJ throws a deep ball better than most people. And it was a moment of VB3 was having to backpedal and slow itself down to catch it. And he reached out with one arm, caught it, brought it in, and completed the catch. Like, that was, I think it was number one on SportsCenter.
Right.
Showed that
That's what I'm saying.
It was mind-blowing because you don't typically see freshmen have that level of ability to catch, body control, like all that stuff. And he had somebody draped right there on him. So that was like mind-blowing. I was just like, oh, okay, you OBJ, okay.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham
it was
Jr.
really, really awesome. It was a great combination of talent and skill. It certainly was such it looked precarious. He's like reaching way out and catching this ball one-handed, and then it's like, how are you going to keep a hold of the ball? But he somehow did. Like, it seemed miraculous, and that's why it's one of the most talked about plays of the weekend.
VB3 is like, he's going to be a problem for every team they play this year.
Yeah. Now, we had many more enthusiastic moments in the second half, which we're going to get to. But your husband is always hungry.
Always.
So let's take a snack break.
Okay, let's go.
That's good.
That's real good. I like that. It's real crisp.
Hey, husband, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you got a little snack. We're going to keep going with the Florida Gator LIU game. In the second half, now, Coach Napier pulled out DJ Lagway and put in Tramel Jones Jr. as quarterback. Now, I was glad to see this because I was saying before the game, like, I didn't think DJ needed to play the whole game.
Right. I kind of thought they would, do what they did, but I was excited. I didn't realize Tramel Jones was going to be QB2. So it was exciting to get to see him. But wow.
Yeah, that's kind of some of the Gator lore is
Yeah.
that like people didn't know who was going to be the backup.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be between Harrison Bailey or Aiden Warner, but we were pleasantly surprised to see Tremel Jones, and I think he had a lot of poise. He was very calm, very in the moment, and it was really nice to see him operate the system. I think he was good. He's more of a pure passer than DJ. He's not going to run as much, but I think from what he's seen, the arm is beautiful. Like that is how you throw a
We
ball.
saw a lot of nice passes from Jones.
Yeah.
It was the second half had the added bonus that we got to see play from second and even third string players.
Oh yeah, and I think that's the real. Napier's talked about it before. Is like you have to have championship depth. Like you need to have when one person goes down, you need to be able to throw in some high level talent. And I think that's what he really focuses on is building. Really building that depth. And I was excited to see it. And I'm like, some of those players, I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to be a problem, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and that's how we got to see Jones throw touchdown passes to what was it, Livingston and Spirito?
Yeah, to a tight end and a wide receiver. So, to my earlier point about pick your poison, no matter what quarterback, we can get a tight end and a touchdown too. So that was really good to see. And Livingston has a lot of upside. I think he'll be good this year.
Yeah, it was a really fun game overall. We got to see the Gators stretch their legs. Again, not necessarily super competitive opponent, but they just got to work things out. We got to see the depth of their roster a little bit.
Yeah. And I think on that defensive side, I'm like some of the players, the freshmen transfers. I mean, like it's good to see. And now I do understand why Florida didn't feel like they had an issue at depth. I think we saw it show up. Hello, daughter.
And I know it must have been loud. You always talk about how loud the Swamp is. It must have been loud because it was a sold out game.
Yeah. And what a lot of people don't realize is the way the Swamp is built. It really keeps the noise in, but it can be hot, it can be a little suffocating. So it really is the Swamp for a reason. And I think for a team coming in to play LIU, their stadium I think holds 6,000 people. Playing in front of 90,000 had to be a big difference, and I'm sure like their ears are still ringing today. So I mean, you come play at the Swamp, you're going to get an experience. But we give a little love to LIU. They came. They saw us and they got conquered. So
now I'll give Florida Gators their props because they played a clean game. And I thought this was really notable that there was 0 penalties for the whole game from the Florida Gators.
That's discipline. Like Billy has talked about it. Like a lot of these mistakes is like we can't beat ourselves. And a lot of the stuff we've seen for the past couple of seasons is a lot of dumb penalties, a lot of players being selfish with their actions. So it shows that there is accountability and he is holding them accountable even against a team like LIU. And that was, I think this was like the first game that UF has had no penalties and no points scored in a game. So that was a win for me. I don't care who the opponent is.
It was a shutout game with Gators scoring 55 points, LIU 0. Any other thoughts for the game overall?
God, I just thank you. I know, Lord, I've been asking for a long time for the Gators to be good, but God, you heard my cry. You heard it, Lord. God, I thank you. Oh, chop, chop. Chop, chop. Chop, chop. Oh, thank you, Lord. Oh, thank you.
Right. Yes, it was definitely a great season opener for the Gators. This is, of course, week 1.
Yep.
There's much more to come from all of these teams. Big D, what do you think? What game should we look out for this coming up weekend?
Well, obviously, we're going to watch USF. USF just knocked off Boise State, who Boise State made the playoffs last year. So I think that's going to be a better game, and I expect them to be ranked. So we're definitely going to watch that one. I think Michigan, Oklahoma is going to be so good. I think it's going to be a defensive battle, to be honest with you, because Michigan, I mean, Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator for Michigan, is so good. I mean, that man has forgotten more football than I'll ever learn. And then I think, Oklahoma with the head coach Brent Venables, we know the defense is going to be good. We know they have great depth there. So I think it's going to be a defensive battle, but you also have a freshman quarterback starting for Michigan, but you also have on the other side Oklahoma with a transfer quarterback. So I think that'll be a good game. Arizona State, Mississippi State, that'll be good because I think Mississippi State's going to be okay. I think Jeff Lebby needs to have some leeway because it's been a long time since Michigan State was great, but also Arizona State did so great, got into the playoffs last year, so that'll be good. And then I'll say the last one for me is Ole Miss Kentucky. I think that's going to be interesting because I don't think Ole Miss has lost to Florida last year, kicked them out of the playoffs. I think it was their loss to Kentucky. And we know how bad Kentucky was last year. So for me, I think it's going to be a revenge game for Ole Miss. I think they're really going to come guns a-blazing. So I think that's going to be a great game to see because I'm sure everybody has that game circled. And we know Kentucky, Mark Stoops, if it wasn't for his buyout, he would probably be gone. But, we'll see what happens. But yeah, but also comment any games you think we should watch. If there's any game you think will be a little bit engaging, put that in the comments for us. But yeah, I'm just excited about football. I think this is going to be another great week.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be watching some of those games, and we're going to record our reactions, and then we'll be back here to discuss some of the moments we were really enthusiastic about.
Yeah, there were some good ones.
Yeah. So thank you, Big D, for going deep with us.
My pleasure.
And giving us some of the background info, if you will. Hopefully you heard some things that you'll be able to talk to your friends, family, coworkers about. And comment below to let us know what moments you found interesting, as well as what were your favorite parts of this video and what made you laugh. And also, like Big D was saying earlier, help us out by clicking that like button to let us know that you're an End Zone enthusiast too. And click that subscribe button to let us know that you watched the video and you're excited for more.
And so thank you for watching End Zone Enthusiasts, where we feel football can be fun for everyone. So until next time, peace.
Bye.